We're excited to talk about the new Star Wars figures that were revealed today on the Hasbro Pulse Fanstream. Varykino, living the Star Wars life. Hello there, and thanks for visiting the Varykino YouTube channel. I'm Kristy.
And I'm Matt. Today we're going to talk about the figures revealed in the Hasbro Pulse Fanstream that went live earlier in the morning New Zealand time. We've had a chance to look through it and we want to give our opinion and thoughts on all the new figures and upcoming other related products that we saw therein. This Fanstream was an extension of the Imperial March promotion that they're running in the month of March. To be honest, there wasn't a lot of Imperial merchandise or figures or characters actually in this Fanstream, but that's fine. They can brand it as they want. We were very happy to see a lot of interesting product nonetheless.
I understand that figures often spend months, if not a year, in the pipeline, and this Imperial March is a bit more of a recent modern push for merchandising. So I understand why there weren't so many Imperial figures there, but it did seem a bit of a quirk when we were sort of all geared up for some Imperial toys and there were not that many in the stream.
First up, the crew ran through a series of previously revealed figures, but they just wanted to re-highlight them. We saw a 3-pack of Black Series characters from the Jedi Fallen Order, Cal Kestis in his Inquisitor gear, Second Sister and a Purge Trooper.
These look really cool. I'm a big fan of action figures from Star Wars video games. Back in the sort of KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic era, it was so hard to find any kind of tie-in merchandise for video games. So I'm really excited to see modern Star Wars video games getting a little bit of love from the action figure lines.
Also in the previously revealed category, there were a number of vintage collection releases. A Trooper Builder Pack featuring Captain Enoch and 3 Night Troopers from the Ahsoka series. We have a little bit of trouble getting these down here in New Zealand, but this is one I think we're really going to chase up. 4 figures in this pack. They all look fantastic. Based on the standard Stormtrooper mold on the whole, which is really, really tidy these days, but with the additional deco of gold, grey and sort of burgundy ribbons and wraps on them, I think it's a really good looking pack.
Yeah, I kind of understand why Hasbro has done this as sort of an army builder pack rather than individual backing cards. I know people want an army build this pack because there were a lot of cool troopers. I can see some people sort of swapping some heads around and things like that, getting a few variations and things like that. Of course, you're going to end up with multiple Enochs if you buy too many packs, but again, he could be ripe for a bit of customization there.
At this stage, it's not clear if they're going to release Captain Enoch by himself, so we'll have to see how that one pans out in the long run.
It would be a bit of a shame. I think him on a backing card would look really nice.
Also discussed was the TVC Stormtrooper VC231. This is a previously released figure, but it was a retailer exclusive the first time round, so this is going a bit more mainstream. Should be able to pick up one or more of these if you want to build out your Stormtrooper collection.
Here in New Zealand, it's really hard to find Stormtrooper figures. If it ever hits the store shelves, they get bought out just completely. So any reissue of classic Stormtroopers is always a big thumbs up in my book. I'm really hoping we can actually get a hold of this one ourselves locally.
And also discussed was the TVC Darth Vader VC334. This is on a standard Star Wars card back, but I believe it is the most recent sculpt, which was packaged as the Dark Times version on an Obi-Wan Kenobi logo card back a little while back.
Yeah, another great figure. Looking forward to picking that one up locally.
Moving on to new vintage collection releases. The Princess Leia Organa action figure VC316 is a fantastic looking figure which comes with a removable hood, really, really nice face sculpt here, and sculpted dress from head to toe.
Yeah, this was a surprise for me. I wasn't sure that they'd be going back and doing a Princess Leia figure from A New Hope. There have certainly been some hits and misses when it comes to tackling her classic white dress in action figure form in the past. And I love the sculpting choices they have done here. Sometimes fabric done on a 4-inch scale figure just doesn't translate. It just kind of puffs out and kind of looks a bit like a bathrobe. And they've gone for a full plastic sculpt for this figure, which which I think might restrict the posability perhaps a little bit, but generally I'm not doing crazy poses with my figures, so that's not a concern for me personally. I love the draping of the hood and the dress here. You've got the right folds at the belt, and that swappable hood is just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I am so very, very excited. I think this looks amazing on the backing card. I'm going to have to pick up multiples. I want a backing card, and then I want to display her with her hood down and her hood up. I am so on board for more Princess Leia figures in the TVC line.
She comes with 2 weapons, a standard E11, but also her Defender blaster, which they discussed as being cast in a new plastic that they haven't used a lot in the past, which gives it a little bit more rigidity and sort of maintains its shape and detail in that small form. This figure was shown off in some of the tentative Blockade Runner hallway playsets. It makes for some really, really cool dioramas. So to go along with the Princess Leia figure is a re-release of the R2-D2 VC149 figure. So this is a re-release with clean deco. It was previously released in a dirty format. He's minty white, so he goes well on that those Blockade Runner sets. This is apparently the Build-A-Droid sculpt, which a lot of people think is quite a nice sculpt for the Astromechs.
Yeah, sometimes the weathering can be a little bit, you want to use the figure and put them in different scenes, so it's nice having a nice clean one. You don't necessarily have to put it in an attentive playset. You can use them in a variety of scenes, so I think this is going to be a popular one. I am definitely keen to get a hold of it. You can't go wrong with the classic R2-D2. In fact, R2-D2 was my very, very first Star Wars action figure, so I have a little bit of a soft spot for it.
And it looks great on that Star Wars logo vintage car back. We might not have to wait too long for these figures. They're described as coming out in summer 2024 here in New Zealand. It's going to be a fan channel. In America, it's a mainline item, including through Hasbro Pulse, but locally we're probably going to have to pick this one up from EB Games. The Black Series Holocom collection is going to continue with a Darth Maul action figure. This was the only character from that subline that was revealed today, so an interesting character, but these are the cast and translucent plastic action figures in the Black Series scale that are presented on a light-up base, so they get that bit of a hologram effect. We haven't seen a lot of these locally. We haven't managed to pick any up ourselves, so it's not a subline that we're heavily invested in, to be honest.
It reminds me of the holo projector ones that they did in the Phantom Menace era, and I think they look cool, but because these aren't available locally, or at least the previous ones haven't been available locally, we would have to source this one from overseas, and I'm not sure it's at the top of our wish list at this point, so it'll be interesting to see whether this one finds its way into our collection or not. Who knows?
What really did catch our attention, though, of course, was the reveals of the new Acolyte action figures in both the Black Series and Vintage Collection line. 5 figures in the Black Series and a couple in the Vintage Collection. Hopefully they'll pack out that lineup for the Vintage Collection very soon. But we start off from the Acolyte with Jedi Master Soul, listed as character number 2 in the Black Series line for the Acolyte. Interesting. They showed 5 figures. They haven't told us what figure number 1 is, so there's another reveal that's going to be coming out very shortly.
It was really exciting to watch the Acolyte trailer yesterday and then today see Hasbro's reveals of upcoming figures. We're just beginning to get to know these new characters, and it was really fun seeing them interpreted in the Black Series line and getting a better look at some of those details.
Yeah, well, the figures actually give us a clearer representation of some of their costumes, to be honest, than what we saw in those really brief glimpses on screen.
One of the big things that I'm really excited about is this is pretty much the first interpretation of High Republic era Jedi in a collectible form. We get a tiny amount of it from the Young Jedi Adventures kids toy line that is set during the High Republic, but that is not what mainstream collectors are going to be picking up primarily. Black Series and TVC is where it's at, so it's really exciting to see some of the High Republic designs finally coming through in toys. It would be fun to see Black Series of some of the major characters from the books and the comics, but of course they're going to go with the major live action series first and then see how things go. I'm really loving the colors. The High Republic is known for a lot of golds and yellows with their Jedi costumes, and it's really fun to see that in the trailer and of course translated into toy form.
So in parallel with revealing these figures, a topic of conversation that did crop up in it, and it is relevant to the discussion of the Acolyte figures, is the new packaging of the Black Series. So we're going with a squared off box, so getting rid of the angle on the packaging. They're staying with the mural cast along the side of all the boxes, and so they're otherwise a little bit similar to our existing boxes, but they are a different shape, and that's showing up in all of the Black Series figures revealed today.
Yeah, I think that that's really interesting. I know people I particularly like it when everything lines up on the shelf. It looks really fun. We've got quite a lineup of sort of what I think of as the modern Black Series line with that angled side panel. And these new ones, they're kind of like going back all the way to the black and red boxes. There's a lot of black. And of course, the red coloring for the Acolyte color strip gives it that very classic sort of Force Awakens era red and black. They did emphasize that there is a larger window on the front to sort of better show off the figure.
And they're going to introduce some color and detail behind the action figure just in the packaging. So if you want to keep your figure in these window boxes, it's a little bit more interesting than the plain grey that we're used to see.
Which is kind of funny because Hasbro did their no plastic and now they're giving us more of a plastic window. So it's kind of funny to see that they took on some feedback and that people want to display their figures in their boxes and be able to see them well. So yeah.
The second character revealed in the Black Series Acolyte collection is Padawan Jeki Lon. She is number 3 in the series. She is the only alien in the lineup that we've seen so far. Hopefully we'll see a few more aliens down the line because there are a few aliens seen in the trailer.
I really like her alien character design. I want to see more details, but I think her costume here is really quite fun. Very similar to the first one with that sort of yellow golden color tunic and the brown colored cloth robe. And I really can't wait to get to know these characters a little bit more, but I am already really intrigued by their interpretation in action figure form. I can see lots of details. I think she's going to be a really fun character.
There's some really nice sculpting. I'm noticing the knee joints in particular, which are pretty tidy. Most of the Jedi, in fact all of the Jedi so far, come with soft goods outer cloaks, which is interesting. Some really nice detail. Like you're talking about the costumes a lot here. Her belt has these really nice color bandings there, so a lot of attention to those details. 4 out of the 5 revealed figures are Jedi, which is another interesting thing. I quite like the idea of Jedi army building. So this is going to be quite a nice lineup when we have them all in hand. So speaking of the Jedis all being lined up, the third character revealed is Jedi Knight Yord Fandar.
Another aspect of High Republic Jedi, which is quite fun, is the inclusion of armor pieces to their outfits. It kind of gives me a little bit of Clone Wars Jedi General vibes, but a lot of these Jedi in the Acolyte series are shown wearing some sort of gauntlets on their forearms. So we've got some really interesting mix of metallics over a Jedi costume, which is really quite fun to see, especially in action figure form. I really like the metallic paints.
And the 4th Jedi character revealed was Jedi Master Indara. This is Carrie-Anne Moss's character. She has a slightly different Jedi costume, which I think is really interesting. But like I say, it's still fun to sort of think about having that bit of an army built out of all of these Jedi together.
This is a character that I'm really interested in. Jedi Master Indara is played by Carrie-Anne Moss, who famously played Trinity in the Matrix movies. And even one of the action figure poses that Hasbro used looks to be a direct reference to one of the action moves that she performs in the Matrix, which I thought was kind of fun. But I really like her costume. Now, she has a different costume to most of the other Jedi that we see. She doesn't have those yellow tones to her outfit, and she is lacking any Jedi tabards here. She has kind of striped white tunic, which is a really different look, and I'm really keen to see some of the details up close. She's got dark colors on her hilt as well. It's hard to tell from an action figure whether this is going to be wood or wrappings or some kind of other tone to it. But yeah, I'm really liking the way that these figures look in their packaging as well. I was not sure how I was going to feel about yet another change to the Black Series line. You know, TVC figures have become quite standardized with that classic backing card, and the Black Series line keeps changing it up. But I'm really liking the packaged look, the way the figures look in that bigger window. I think that looks really fun.
And the final Acolyte Black Series figure revealed today is number 6 from this line, May the Assassin. She comes with a purple soft goods robe, 4 knife accessories, and a removable mask covering her face as she appears in the trailer. So she's got quite a lot going on with her costume. She's got some chainmail, she's got some metallic armor components. But as far as we don't know a lot about her at this point, she's quite a mysterious character. So that's going to be part of the actual mystery aspect of the actual story as it unfolds when we get to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, she has quite a complicated costume compared to the Jedi, so it must have been quite an interesting challenge to translate all of those details into action figure form. It's going to be really interesting to see how well she poses. She's got 4 tiny little throwing knives and a robe. It's really going to be, I'm really keen to get my hands on this figure and really see all of those details and see what kind of cool poses we can do.
Yeah, so this whole lineup looks really, really great together. There's a really cool scene in the trailer where there's a whole array of different Jedi with different lightsabers making a bit of a charge, a bit of a run for an unseen target. And I think this lineup of characters with their all different coloured lightsabers is going to start to give that feel in toy form, and I'm really loving that aspect of it all.
Yeah, one of my favorite pictures is that full lineup that Hasbro put out where we can see the 5 Black Series figures revealed so far from the Acolyte, and we can really see that theme of the High Republic style Jedi tunics and outfits across those figures.
Similarities and differences there.
I think
great.
They're going to look so cool all lined up. I just really like Jedi action figures. I remember some of my Phantom Menace ones that I collected up. I love the soft goods robes. It's felt so sort of deluxe when I was in my early era of collecting. They always felt sort of special. I really like the soft good robes used for all of these figures, which is kind of fun. 5 figures all with fabric cloaks is quite unique. And I'm just looking forward to finding out what that one other character that they didn't reveal is.
So following on from the Black Series, just a couple of figures revealed in the vintage collection so far, VC328 and VC329. Like I say, fully expect them to expand on this in the very, very near future, presumably with a similar lineup to what we saw in the Black Series. So we see May the Assassin as VC328 in the smaller 3.75 inch scale, and also Jedi Master Soul VC329. So very similar renditions to the Black Series counterparts, just scaled down a little bit here. Less accessories. May only has 2 knives instead of 4 knives, but otherwise pretty much what we would expect for vintage collection versions of these characters, I think.
Yeah, I really like the way that the 3.75 inch figures look on their backing cards. It is just so nostalgic, and I'm always torn about whether I keep them on their backing cards or open. I don't have the display space to keep everything carded, so it's a little bit of a choosing which one to open, which one to keep carded. These ones look great, but I do think that I want to open these ones. Because I think they just look really fun, and I think soft goods work better out of the packaging. Sometimes they kind of look like they're in a little bit of a sleeping bag with their fabric cloaks all sort of wrapped around them, and just seeing Hasbro's examples of them out of the packaging with their robes sort of fully, you get a little bit more of a flow, a feel to them when you've got soft good cloaks displayed. I always find that when I open up Vader figures, it always looks better out because the fabric's all kind of bunched around them and stuff like that. So these ones, I think I'm definitely going to be picking up to open them up.
So moving on from action figures, the next reveal was the next upcoming Black Series Premium Electronic Helmet, which is Moff Gideon's Beskar helmet. Now this is a very interesting character choice. We saw a prototype and a few promo images of this. It's a really nice helmet. I really enjoyed seeing it on screen. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure if this is my most favorite rendition of Black Series helmets, because the black doesn't have quite the depth and sort of realistic feel that some of the Mandalorian and Imperial helmets and X-Wing pilot helmets that we've seen so far. But we'll see how this pans out when we see the final version. It's got a lot of nice detail. It's got some electronic features. It's got all of the essence of Moff Gideon's helmet.
Yeah, I understand that this is a prototype, but it did look a little bit more black plastic. I know that they can, because they've done Darth Vader's helmet and that one looks quite good. I know that, there are some inconsistencies with the accuracy there, but I'm hoping that the full Moff Gideon one will just give that just final little finishing touch to make it look a little less like plastic.
It may have been the really strong lights just hitting it that gave it a little bit of a glare and made it felt a little bit lightweight, because I presume that it's the same sort of thickness and overall construction to the related Mandalorian helmets that we see in this line.
Because because the Clone Trooper Black Series helmet I absolutely love, and that's just white plastic, but it doesn't look thin or flimsy. It looks like a solid, sturdy helmet. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that the Black Series Moff Gideon helmet has that same sort of transformation when they do it in its final retail version.
Now, we've seen the Vintage Collection Jabba the Hutt action playset, the components of it before, but today they showed off the packaging, which is fun and interesting, but it doesn't give us a lot more detail, to be honest, about the product. So it's just sort of fun, a bit of a fun interlude before we moved on to other things. They showed the card back packaging for the included figures, which are 88, who is numbered VC325, and Salacious B. Crumb, who is numbered VC66A. That numbering just reflects the fact that he's been released on a card back previously.
One of the main highlights for me was the fact that they have put Salacious on a tiny sort of scaled backing card for him. And the Hasbro crew were kind of, having fun with this because it just looks so cute and tiny. The problem for me with these sort of things is I want to keep them carded, but I also want to display them in the scene. So it's kind of a higher price point item. I don't really know that it's not a army building scene. Like you can buy, like different indoor bunkers or attentive hallways. You only really need one Jabba's palace, but I think fans are going to want to buy two, and I know that that's a little bit of a marketing ploy. You want to buy two so you can keep them open and keep them carded, because I think they look so good carded.
Now, we really enjoyed seeing the new actual action figures in hand, as well as the promo images of all of them, but we're almost more excited about some of the pipeline reveals that, I often find the pipeline reveals quite interesting and exciting. In the Black Series, we've got 5 new products coming out. Finally, we're getting a few more Andor figures. We've got Dedra Meero from Andor. She'll look great in the Black Series lineup. From The Mandalorian, we've got an Imperial Armored Commando. So these are from the latter scenes of the recent season with Moff Gideon. We've got another version of Ahsoka Tano. This is the Peridea costume. So her light-coloured costume, which looks really great. And it's nice to have that variation compared to her standard costume. We've got a Night Trooper and Captain Enoch 2-pack in the Black Series lineup. This is described as a Walmart exclusive. Hopefully we see that down here in New Zealand in one form or another. And a Yoda and Clone Commander Gree 2-pack, which will be available through the Disney Store and Hasbro Pulse. These are described as realistic interpretations of both Yoda and Gree, even though they're based on sort of comic versions of both those characters.
Personally, I'm really excited about Dedra Meero. I thought she was such an important character in the Andor series, and we don't have her in collectible form. She's not in the TVC line or Black Series. I was like, I would need her for my lineup because I love the Andor series, and there aren't as many figures for that series as I think there should be.
There's a few more in the Black Series than in the Vintage Collection, but she's a glaring omission. I mean, her costume is just standard ISB uniform. But I'm actually quite excited about that, despite that plainness, because her character is just so integral to the show and such a fun character.
And of course, I love Captain Enoch. I'm excited for that in the Black Series line. And Ahsoka in her new pale outfit. I absolutely loved that new outfit. I'm so excited that this one is not too far off in the future, that she's definitely in the works, because I am definitely going to need that one for my collection.
And then in the Vintage Collection pipeline reveals, first up is a Jetpack Trooper. Following on, we also have Grand Admiral Thrawn, a live-action version from the Ahsoka series. We've got a 4-pack of X-Wing pilots. Strangely, they showed a picture showing a whole lot of Snowspeeder pilots from the Hoth battle scene, but it's described as X-Wing pilots. Presumably, we will see actual X-Wing costumes there, but I'm a big fan of the X-Wing pilot uniform, so quite keen on that pack in the long run. And the thing that really sort of made us sit up and take notice was the Blurrg and Mandalorian pack. And last but not least, a new playset, Moff Gideon's Imperial Light Cruiser Hallway playset.
So, as Matt said, the highlight from the Vintage Collection pipeline reveals for us personally is that Blurrg. I am a big fan of the creatures of Star Wars, but in recent years, Hasbro has not made as many as I really wished that they would. I love my classic Rancor, Dewbacks, that fluffy bantha that came out all those years ago, and in that first season of The Mandalorian, I thought, oh my gosh, Blurrgs, surely this is not a big beast. It should be easily done in the 3.75 and Black Series line. And lo and behold, we only got it from Funko and Hot Toys. Now, Hot Toys is a 12-inch scale. Like, that's big. I was like, surely Hasbro is going to add it to their line now. So, hurrah, it is coming. I cannot wait to actually see sculpts and preview pictures of this because I just thought it was such a highlight of those early episodes.
Now, most scenes that had the Blurrg and had more than one Blurrg, hopefully it's not too highly priced because, you know, there's going to be a strong urge to get more than one of these, even though it's described as coming with the Mandalorian. We know that there are Quill figures in the TVC line, and even if he just sort of stands beside them and leads them or tends to them, it's going to be fun having a bit of a corral of Blurrgs.
Especially if you have the HasLab Razor Crest ship, you can go and add some Blurrgs beside it, you know, to fill in some of those scenes from that first season. I'm so excited about this. I'm fingers crossed we get them in New Zealand because, yeah, we're going to need at least 2, maybe more.
The live stream was wrapped up by talking about HasLab projects current and upcoming. We saw some really nice photography of the Ghost crew standing in front of the upcoming HasLab TVC Ghost, which is a very exciting product we're really quite keen to see in person down the line. All 6 of the Ghost crew together look really nice. They're all sort of live action interpretations of the characters, but we need the whole crew to go with the Ghost, really, don't we? They showed off some of the internal play features associated with the Ghost. Now, we know a lot about this product already, but it was just fun seeing this new additional photography, some of which will be included on its packaging.
There is always such a delay from when the HasLab projects go live and they're fully revealed to when fans can finally get their hands on it. So it was really fun to get a little bit of an update. No sort of specific date when this is expected to ship yet.
We know it's not too far off though.
Yeah, so it was really fun to see a fully painted Ghost with the figures there. You know, it's always really, I'm so impressed with that sort of professional photography where they pose everything really well. I'm hopeless at trying to pose my action figures. They always stand there a little bit, you know, straight-legged. So it was really fun to see all these amazing photos, and it's just really exciting. And they also teased the next Star Wars HasLab project, which will be from the Vintage Collection line, which I'm very excited to hear. And of course, I'm sure the internet is going to be rife with speculation. There's a part of me that's kind of wondering whether they will tie this in with the anniversary of the Phantom Menace. There are certainly some large ships from that show. I know the Sith Infiltrator gets thrown around as a possibility because it is a big ship. There are some, you know, really cool Naboo ships that I would love to see done in a big, full, proper scale. There are so many options here. I mean, who knows? Some of them have been sort of like a bit random, and some of them have been like fans have been really asking for it for a long time. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, not too much longer before we get confirmation of that. I'm looking forward to hearing those details and finding about the timelines and seeing straight up what it is. So that was about it for the live stream. Just finishing on that teaser note about the HasLab. We on the whole thought there was a really nice range of products here. Some that we're more excited about than others, but that's just strictly on a personal level. We know everybody has their own personal preferences. I'm personally looking forward to that army building array of Acolyte Jedi Knight action figures, Jedi Knight, Jedi Padawan and so forth. Plus some really cool pipeline reveals that have got us quite excited. We know it takes a little bit of time. We're probably not going to see those until later next year at this rate, but we'll keep our eye out for more information about them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this live stream. There were so many characters that I know are going to be on my wish list. There were a couple of things that I wish were in the pipeline or perhaps revealed. I am still wanting more Bad Batch figures in the Vintage Collection line. I love my Black Series Bad Batch figures, but I need some TVC love as well.
Yeah, well, there's tons more that we could be sort of wishing for and hoping for. But of course, whenever these live streams happen, they are never the be-all and end-all of everything coming up. They've got other points that they're going to be making announcements, including the upcoming WonderCon convention, where I'm sure we will hear a little bit more about what is in production now or in the pipeline for production in the very near future.
Yeah, so gonna make some space for the Acolyte figures on our display shelves because I'm hoping it won't be too much longer until we be able to get to open those up and add them to our collection.
Yep, a few more army builder packs that we'll need to make space for, not to mention clearing off at least one shelf for a herd of Blurrgs.
So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next video, and as always, may the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like.
check out our other videos, and subscribe for alerts about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.